Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. Welcome to the week. I have a lovely little kitty on my lap. May we all have precious little darling kitties to sit on our lap as we navigate and work through all of the astrology that is so activated, that is so wanting us to pay attention. I don't know how this is all going for you. I don't have the lovely ocean view this time around. I am home. I am back at it. But the feelings remain the same, okay? We had that big eclipse in Aries. It's the last one for a long time, but it's not the end of Aries because we are in Aries season. And we have all of these planets hugging the Pisces Aries meridian. And this is big energy. You know, we've got Venus and Mercury currently retrograde. They've moved back into Pisces, but they're going to go back into Aries in a little bit. So the retrograde is almost over. We will end the week heading into the next Monday with Venus being direct, but oftentimes I find that that's when it all culminates, that all of the tomfoolery that we have been on the surfaces of tend to make themselves and avail themselves in a pretty deep, cathartic, hopefully, way. So it hasn't had its way with us quite yet, and very much in Pisces. And the big news of this week is that now the North Node is getting involved. Tomorrow, Venus retrograde is going to be right next to the North Node. The North Node is going to be heading into Aries, ending in Pisces. So just like it is an astrological new year, now that we're in Aries season, there's so much spiritual cord binding, connective tissue engaging, muddled energy at these end degrees. But when Venus comes with the North Node's energy, it's almost as though we are tied in knots right now to learn where the knots are, why they're there, and how to untie them. So there's information here. The North Node is helping this Venus retrograde to say, so I see you've been stuck. Might I show you where your stuck energy is? Oh, it's right here. It's in our heart space because we've been stripped of our ego. We've had to have a lot of ego death this month. It's been challenging. It's been hard. It's felt stuck. It's been a lot of things, okay? Tidy is certainly not one of them. But North Node wants to tidy it up. North Node's like, okay. It's time to start accessing our heart points. It's time to start righteously engaging in the fates. The cool and hard thing about fate is that sometimes it feels as though it controls us rather than us controlling it. And I'm reading this really interesting book. It's called Our Infinite Fates, The Infinite Fates. One of those, The Infinite Fates. And it's about this couple who is doomed to fall in love and kill each other before their 18th birthday, that they never get to progress into adulthood, but they live all of these different lives through all of the centuries, and they keep being drawn to each other. And I see that really potently in our astrology right now because we are edging closer and closer to our fated selves this cycle. And I want us all to get it right this life. I don't know if you believe in past lives or, crossing different timelines and planes, but to me, it's ever alive in us. And if you don't believe in that, then we have this one beautiful life. Jesus, that's like a lot of pressure. And when the fates, the North Node fates, come to show us something, it's true. Sometimes we aren't in control of what happens to us, of the life circumstances that gets thrown to us. But what we do have control over is how much we're paying attention. I've had Many students in my teaching of astrology, many readings in my giving of personalized readings, where I can tell when someone is activated in their chart or not. It's a choice. We do get to choose that. Astrology keep astrology-ing. Mercury is always going to have its retrograde moments. Venus too. All the planets will have their time in the retrograde, the reflective, and all planets will have moments where they are affecting us deeply and greatly. And we won't always get to choose when that is or what it shows us or why, but we do get to choose to be activated or not. You know, when I give advice in accordance with someone's chart and they're like, no, I've tried that. Nope, I've done that. Nope, I've done everything. I've tried every self-help. I've read every book. I've done everything. And there's this energy that's closed off. Then there's really not much I can do for the fate of this person, because they'll be doomed to repeat it over and over. Because until we strip ourselves down to our humblest place and say, whatever, anything, what is it? What am I not seeing? What do you want me to see? That we get shown. Not always the beautiful Pandora's box that is so enticing and we want to open it. No. But the ugly, gnarled back of the closet box that we find maybe quite by accident and open, and oh, the worms. Oh, the cans that get popped, that then seep and ooze, and they are our nightmares, and they are our fears, and they are the things that we've been avoiding, and they are the parts of ourselves that we're not so proud of come inching out. And we don't get to control that. We don't get to control what always comes out of our mystery box of a life, but we do get to control how we activate ourselves in it. We all have phobias, the deep-seated fears that we're going to have reactions to and triggers to no matter what. But we do have the power to understand that we're dreaming. You know, when you're having a nightmare and you can understand that it's a dream and you can take control of that dream, that's incredibly powerful. And I would surmise that if we could see our lives as but a dream in that way, and we take control of our own destiny in that way, that we, instead of falling victim to our life, instead of feeling shame about what's happening, or fear or anger or hurt, or I've already tried this one way and it didn't work, so I guess I'm just made to suffer the rest of my life. Instead of that, we activate ourselves. And we take ourselves on a new hero's journey, on a new hero's arc. We pave something new. But for those of us who think that we've tried it all, or are so afraid of failing, or are so triggered by our own life circumstance that the hand that wants to help us up represents the enemy, well, then we're gonna repeat, reuse, recycle that energy, and we'll be doomed to live it again. So when fate knocks on our door, like Venus retrograde being right next to the North Node, which is our fate, which is where the collective needs to go next, rather than saying, oh, I've opened that door before, oh, I've tried that exercise program before, oh, I've done that spiritual journey before. No, you haven't, because you haven't done it as the you that you are today. That there are so many versions of us, and you really do yourself a disservice when you cast yourself as the shadow of your previous selves, when you don't give yourself the benefit of the doubt of your own growth, that inch by inch, hour by hour, our cells are moving, our life is grooving. We are our own destiny. And every day is a chance to be a new version of ourselves. And so how do you activate that? How do you stop getting in your own way? How do you stop being your own worst enemy because you've already tried that before? That isn't going to work. It's not going to unlock new doors. I was just talking to someone yesterday about the notion that there are closed doors inside of ourselves, and how we choose to pick those locks and when we choose to open those doors is so timely. And this is the time. Open them, guys. Don't let them stay shut any longer. We don't have much time. This world is meant to regenerate over and over and over, and so are we. We can heal. We can. We can't solve all the problems. We can't be perfect. And that's what South Node Virgo is always trying to tell us right now, is that nope, you're not going to get it perfect, but you are going to get it if you put yourself out there. There is no book that can be read if it does not get out there, get published. There is no concept that can't be thought about if it isn't vocalized first. And what concepts and constructs are you right now that you need to start putting out in the world and start getting a little braver, a little truer? And that's a hard ask. And Venus is retrograde, so she ain't in the best mood ever. She's very reflective, and maybe there's been some hurts that have stayed in your heart. I know there are some that I can call up right to mind right now that stay in mine, that hurt and hurt and hurt. And now next to this North Node that wants so much to move into Aries, to move into the new, the fresh. What do we need to leave behind? Who are we blaming? That really is just the catch-all for your own current pain existence. We so much like to have a reason or a cause or whatever, and to admit that we are the cause of it is painful. And that's what Venus is going through right now, is that darkness, that sense that we've lost something. And it's so funny because we have so many rituals for how we lose our innocence. You know, our body does things to us, hormones, puberty, to have to let go of our imaginary friends, to let go of the fairy world, to let go of that which is magical. And we don't give ourselves that same honoring, that same gift of understanding that we are constantly experiencing little deaths of our own belief systems. Because when you believe something completely and wholly, then there's no cracks. There's no room for something else to bloom, to slide in. And that's when stuff gets stagnant. When we believe something, absolutely, we limit the possibility that it could all be not true, that we could all have gotten it wrong. And I'm a big fan of listening and learning a lot, but believing and ascribing to nothing, because I can't say for sure that I'm right and you're wrong. And that's where we really lose track in our lives and in our relationships with others. And as the people around us grow and change, we don't give each other the freedom, the compassion, and the fortitude to grow. We always want to keep them just here because their growth sometimes threatens our stagnation. It makes us need to grow, and we don't always want to. So that's really the vibes of this week. And then Thursday, Mercury catches up to this vibe. Mercury retrograde then gets next to and conjunct to the North Node. So all of these feelings, this heart center that is being torn open, if we want it to, and starts telling us the secrets of our soul. All of a sudden, here's Mercury retrograde saying, whoa, my thoughts need to catch up to this heart thing that you're doing. And here comes our thoughts needing to align with our heart. And that's so hard because our thoughts are our garbage cans. Our thoughts are the things that we believe and our systems that we form ourselves around. And our thoughts are really the tricksters of our lives because they're the things that keep those doors closed inside of us. They're the things that keep our heart protected. But our heart is open right now. This Venus retrograde and North Node having this conversation first. And then our thoughts are like, hey, I don't want that. I don't want to be that vulnerable. I don't want to be that open. I don't want to change that much. But it's there and it wants to. And then Friday, Saturn, which is our lesson keeper, our principal's office, our lessons, has this sextile, this positive aspect to Uranus, our planet of big change and big growth and innovation. And it's in Taurus right now. And so this Saturn in Pisces that's trying to get the memo, that's trying to catch up, that's watery, that has had less boundaries than it usually has, gets impacted by Uranus saying we can change, we can do this. We can break down systems that aren't working anymore. Look at our world right now. It is so in need of a revamping. Everything is so old and stagnant. So are we, so are they, so is everything. So this Uranus and Taurus wants to refoundation us, wants to show us what resource really is, that it's not always just financial or just the nuclear family or just what we deem as success, that we need to reorient what it is success means for us, not just the collective, but for us individually. It is this big, big lesson. And when these outer planets start doing these rumbles, these tumbles, these shakes, these inclinations, then we can choose to catch on. We can catch the drift and be like, okay, yeah, I need to innovate too. I need to grow too. I need to align too. And then this same day, Mars, who's also in a water sign and uncomfy, sextiles Uranus too. So our fighter, our warrior, what are we fighting for? What have we been fighting for? Needs a reboot. This protective Cancerian Martian energy right now wants to familiarize itself again with what family is, what connection is, what being protective is. And it's all up to change. It's all up to reboot. It's all here to lay new ground, new foundation. The rest is rotted away. And I know we can all feel that, both personally and collectively. So how do we let Uranus move us? Show us something. And then the same day, Mars trines, which is another positive aspect, Saturn. So Saturn and Mars are having this very deep conversation at the end of this week about how we need to be our own heroes, how we need to step in and just do the damn thing. Just make the changes. I think that it's really interesting that, Aries starts off with spring and that Neptune just moved into Aries. And it didn't have to. Neptune changes signs all the time in different seasons and cycles, but that Neptune, our dream center, has changed into Aries at the same time as Aries season is asking us to be the bigger versions of ourselves, to step more truly into ourselves and to use our body more, because this society chooses, for whatever reason, to damp our bodies down. We're always suppressing. The medicines that are on the market are to suppress symptoms, not to heal the ailments. And this is a real time to step into our bodies through our souls, to start aligning our souls with our bodies so that we can have deeper, better, more foundational healing. So listen to your body and its connection to your dreams, to your hopes, to your different rhythmic cycles. How are you sleeping right now? How are you eating right now? How are you resting and working? How are you working out? The beach body thing comes to roost in spring because soon we're going to be in bathing suits. And what's so interesting is Aries rules that body, that it's physicality, that it's the first house of self, of how we get to know ourselves. And I find it so sad that we all have, on one way or another, rejection of our own body images because of society, because of norms that don't even make sense, because of the Kardashians, because of all of that stuff that tells us that there is a certain way that we should be that maybe we can't get to. And so how do we start loving the situation we're in, the body we're in, the soul we're in, and the heart that beats us? And this is a time of great, great change in circumstance, where the better you can fortify your soul, the more you can love yourself, and the more compassion you can have for others, the more opportunity for freedom there is. And so all this work going on this week, it's deep work. It's fated. It's let it move you. Let it do what it wants to do. And then this weekend, Sunday, the sun is going to sextile Jupiter. We will get that reward, that ease, that moment of, I can do it. I can succeed. I can move forward and shift if I'm brave enough to. And then Venus comes in and trines Mars and says, you can lay down your sword now. You can come in. I'll allow it. I'll hug you. I'll hold you. And that warrior who's so war-torn, who's been so stuck, who's so frustrated, who's so angry, who's so tired, can get nurtured, comforted, and loved by this Venus in Pisces that knows what we've been through and wants to hold us gently through it. So, wow, there's so much. There's so much in March. And going into April, it continues. We are a continuation. We are a cycle. And the card that I had pulled was this guy, the King of Swords. Swords represents our air energy, our mercurial energy, our ability to communicate, our ability to push through, our ability to understand ourselves better through how we are expressing ourselves. So express. Don't be afraid to bring out parts of yourself that need shifting, because it is a shifting time. It's going to do it whether you want it to or not. So my best advice is to embrace it, to unlock the doors, to open the parts of yourself that had to close for one reason or another, and to forgive, to find reconciliation with the you of before and the people that hurt you before. It's time. It's time to lay down the armor and be exposed and expose ourselves to this world so that we can all come naked into this new way of being. And what does that look like if we were all just the rawest forms of ourselves? I said last week that I felt like I was becoming this new version of myself, but I didn't know who it was yet, and that there was some fear and some trepidation and some distance from my loved ones that I had been feeling. And I feel that still, but there is this part of myself that feels like it's starting to land. Instead of the excess and the fear and the victimization of it, I am landing into my soul, into myself, and I am seeing why so many things had to happen this new year in order for me to understand more fully what it is I'm supposed to be leaning into and what path I'm supposed to be walking, and that it's nobody else's path but my own. And I am the creator of my own universe, and that if things are bad right now, I always have a choice to activate it and to heal it and to work with it by going through it instead of around it or under it. Just like that bear hunt when we were kids. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You're just going to have to go through it. And I'm in it. I am in the brambles, and they are cutting my skin open for me to lay myself exposed to you all. And more importantly, to myself. May the exposure create the tan we're all looking for, my dear loves. Thank you for listening. Please like, follow, subscribe, share, book a reading. I'm always here to help you navigate through the waters that can oftentimes feel murky if you don't have someone to clarify. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you next week.